My name is Tanya Townsend. I'm 72 years old. And when I tell you what my son did, what he filed in a courthouse 6 days before he invited me to dinner, you'll understand why 15 nurses drove from 4 different counties to sit in a courtroom gallery on a Friday morning. I was standing in my bathroom fastening the watch my husband gave me, straightening the blue dress I'd bought for a birthday he never saw. My son Bradley had invited me to dinner, first time in 3 months. I was bringing peach cobbler. At 4:47, my phone buzzed. A text from Garrett Webb, my attorney of 20 years. 6 words, "Call me right now, it's urgent." Garrett doesn't use the word urgent. In 20 years, he'd called me after hours exactly 3 times. The last time was to tell me my husband was dead. But what Garrett told me about my son and what I found on Bradley's printer 3 hours later, I'll get to that. Welcome back to Alpha Mom Stories, the channel where mothers stand their ground. Drop a comment and be sure to subscribe. I worked at St. Agnes Memorial Hospital for 35 years. Started as a staff nurse in 1986, made head nurse by 1998. Retired 3 years ago with a photograph on the wall of the 3rd-floor corridor and a crystal vase I've never used. 35 years, 400 patients per shift, 0 medication errors. I'm going to say that again because people tend to skip over it. 0 medication errors in 35 years of practice. I trained over 200 nurses, won the Medical Staff Excellence Award 3 times, and every morning for 3.5 decades I walked through those double doors at 6:15 with my badge clipped to my scrub top and my watch on my left wrist. The watch. Jerry gave it to me for our 25th wedding anniversary. White face, brown leather strap, engraved on the back TT, every second matters. The face had yellowed slightly over the years. Jerry's handwriting on the back hadn't. I wore that watch every shift, every code blue, every midnight when a patient's monitor beeped wrong and the resident on call froze in the hallway. I wore it the morning I retired, and I wore it the evening my son invited me to dinner. Clearfield, Virginia, population 9,000, 1 hospital, 1 courthouse, 3 churches, and a diner that still serves coffee for $1.25. My house is at 8 Birchwood Lane, a 3-bedroom colonial that Jerry bought in 1988 and spent 6 years expanding with his own hands. He added a family room, a covered porch, a workshop out back with a table saw and a pegboard he organized by tool size. I retired from medicine. I never stopped diagnosing. Gerald Townsend, Jerry, master carpenter, 40 years in the trade. Built kitchens, porches, decks, bookshelves. Half the houses in Clearfield have something. Jerry touched a mantel. He carved a banister. He sanded a set of cabinets he hung by himself on a Saturday afternoon because the homeowner couldn't afford a crew. He died 8 years ago. Heart attack. 68 years old. I found him on the floor of his workshop next to a dining table he was building for the Petersons on Maple Street. Cedar and walnut. He'd finished the legs. The top was still clamped. I checked his pulse. No pulse. I started compressions. Called 911 with my free hand. Kept counting. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. 30 compressions. I did it for 11 minutes until the paramedics arrived. They told me I did everything right. Everything right, and he was still gone. In his shirt pocket, I found a carpenter's pencil. Flat. Cedar, blunt tip, graphite smudge still on the side. I put it in his toolbox. It stayed there for 8 years. Last month, I moved it to my purse. Jerry built the duplex at 44 Elm Court in 1995, bought a rundown 2-family, gutted it, rewired it, replumbed it, tiled every kitchen by hand, rented both units, current value $380,000. That duplex was Jerry's first investment, his proof that a carpenter could build wealth without a desk. Bradley grew up watching Jerry work. At 10, Jerry tried to teach him to build a bookshelf. Bradley sanded 2 boards and quit. "Dad, can we just buy one?" Jerry said, "You build what matters, son." I thought he'd built Bradley the same way. Bradley was a quiet kid, played tennis, won a partial scholarship to the University of Virginia, finance degree, graduated with honors. He came home, shook Jerry's hand, and said, "I'm going to build something too, Dad, just with numbers instead of wood." He opened Clearfield Wealth Management at 33, 12 employees, corner office on Main Street with his name on the door. I gave him $40,000 to start. He paid back every dollar. 3 years, not a day late. He took me to Savannah for my 65th birthday, called every Sunday, brought groceries without being asked. When Jerry died, Bradley stood next to me at the funeral in a black suit, with his tie slightly crooked, the way Jerry always wore his, and said, "I'll take care of everything, Mom." And for 3 years, he did. He helped me manage the duplex tenants, drove me to medical appointments, fixed the porch railing when the post rotted. He was steady, present, the kind of son people tell you you're lucky to have. Then he launched the Shenandoah Valley Real Estate Fund. It was 2022. He mentioned it over Sunday dinner. "Just a side project, Mom. Small-scale real estate investments. Low risk." I didn't ask more. He was the financial advisor. I was the retired nurse. Numbers were his department. But the son who held my hand at the funeral started answering his phone during our Sunday dinners. The son who drove 3 hours for my retirement party started canceling visits. "Work thing. Something came up. Next week, Mom." A side project, that's what he called it. I didn't press. I should have. Monica Crane. Bradley met her at a charity gala 7 years ago, married her a year later. I liked her at first. Smart, organized, good with numbers. She had a firm handshake, and she looked me in the eye when she talked. The problem with being a good nurse is you notice symptoms before you're ready to name the diagnosis. First sign, Monica suggested renovating my kitchen. "It's dated, Mom." I told her it worked fine. She smiled and said, "Same thing." It wasn't the same thing, but I let it go. Monica had been an HR director at Data Point Solutions, corporate, big title. She left 2 years ago, told Bradley it was restructuring. She started consulting from home. I didn't ask questions. Things changed. Bradley and Monica bought a house, $680,000, new SUV, private school tuition for Monica's niece, which Monica paid as a gift. "She's family," Monica said. I noticed she said that a lot, family. She started calling me Mom. I didn't mind the word. I minded the way she used it. "Mom, you look tired." "Mom, did you take your vitamins?" "Mom, are you sleeping enough? Bradley worries." Every sentence had a footnote. Every compliment had a direction. I started watching her the way I watch a patient chart that doesn't match the vitals. Something off. Nothing I could prove. She talked over Bradley at dinner. She redirected every question about money. Whenever I asked Bradley, "How's the business?" Monica answered. Monica didn't marry into my family. She reorganized it. And then the Sunday calls stopped. 18 months. That's how long the distance grew. Bradley canceled 3 Sunday dinners in a row. Work thing. Monica's not feeling well. Something came up. I stopped counting after 7. The calls shortened. 5 minutes instead of 20. He'd ask how I was, I'd say fine, and there'd be a silence that used to be filled with conversation. Then the comments started. "Mom, you told me that already." I hadn't. "Mom, we talked about this last week. Don't you remember?" We hadn't. "Mom, I'm worried about you driving at night." I'd driven at night for 35 years to get to 6 a.m. shifts. My record was clean. At Thanksgiving, Monica asked me in front of everyone, Bradley, Diane, Paul, 2 neighbors, "Mom, what year did you retire?" I told her, 2023. She gave this small nod like I'd passed a quiz she didn't think I would. Slight smile. Then she moved on to the turkey. I called Helen Vasquez after that. Helen, my closest colleague at St. Agnes, 28 years working the same floors. I told her what was happening. I feel like I'm being evaluated, I said. Helen didn't miss a beat. Tanya Townsend, you diagnosed stroke patients in under 90 seconds. Trust your instinct. I noticed other things. Bradley asking about the duplex, not once, repeatedly. How's the tenant? Any maintenance issues? Have you thought about selling? He'd never cared about the duplex before. Jerry's duplex. I didn't know the word for what was happening to me. Later, Garrett told me. Gaslighting. I called it something else. Reconnaissance. Wednesday evening, my phone rang. Bradley. His voice was warm. Too warm. Like a nurse who's about to deliver bad news and overcompensates with kindness. I know that voice. I've used it. Mom, I want to have you over for dinner Saturday. Just family. Just family. 2 words I hadn't heard from my son in 3 months. I wanted to believe them. I told him I'd love to. Monica's making her short ribs. I'll pick you up at 5. Bradley doesn't call on Wednesdays. He doesn't offer to drive. And Monica hasn't made short ribs since last Christmas. But I said yes, because he was my son, and because 3 months of silence will make you agree to almost anything. Thursday, Friday, normal days. I watered the plants, read a book called Helen, made peach cobbler to bring that was tradition. Tanya Townsend doesn't show up empty-handed. Jerry used to say I'd bring a casserole to my own funeral. Saturday morning, I went to the closet and pulled out the blue dress, navy silk. I'd bought it for my 70th birthday. Jerry died 2 weeks before. I never wore it. I held it against myself in the mirror. The fabric was cool, unworn. 2 years in the closet waiting. Tonight felt like the right night. I put on the dress, fastened the nurse's watch, checked the mirror. I looked like a woman going to her son's house for dinner. That's all I wanted to be. 4:30, cobbler on the counter, purse by the door, keys ready. 4:47, my phone buzzed, a text from a number I knew better than my son's. Call me right now, it's urgent. Garrett Webb, 6 words. I put the peach cobbler down on the counter and called him. He answered before the first ring finished. Tanya, sit down. He was talking fast. He'd been preparing this call since he found the filing that afternoon. I'm standing, tell me. He told me. My son Bradley Townsend had filed a petition in Clearfield County Circuit Court for full guardianship and conservatorship of Tanya Mae Townsend, age 72, emergency basis. Hearing scheduled for Friday, 6 days from now. The petition claimed that I exhibited signs of progressive cognitive decline over the past 18 months, that I forgot conversations, repeated questions, had difficulty managing household finances, left the stove on twice. I have never left the stove on. The petition listed my assets. 8 Birchwood Lane, $520,000. 44 Elm Court duplex, $380,000. 403B retirement account, $420,000. Total $1.3 million. Proposed guardian Bradley Townsend. Proposed conservator Bradley Townsend. My son wanted control of everything. I looked at my watch. 4:52. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They'd stopped when the numbers started. Numbers I understood. There's more, Garrett said. The petition includes a cognitive assessment report from a Dr. Alan Reeves. I don't know any Dr. Reeves. I know. That's the problem. I sat down. The blue dress wrinkled at the waist. The peach cobbler was going cold on the counter. The watch ticked. My son filed a petition to have me declared mentally incompetent. I said it to myself. I said it again. Not because I didn't understand, I understood perfectly. I said it because I needed to hear the words in my own voice before I heard them in a courtroom. My son filed a petition to have me declared mentally incompetent. The cobbler sat on the counter. I never picked it up. Garrett read me sections over the phone. I listened the way I listened to lab results at 3 a.m, no reaction until I had all the data. Respondent Tanya Townsend, age 72, has demonstrated progressive cognitive decline over the past 18 months, including but not limited to repeated inability to recall recent conversations, difficulty managing household financial obligations, and episodes of disorientation in familiar settings. Episodes of disorientation. I ran the busiest floor in Shenandoah Valley General for 14 years. I could find the crash cart in the dark. He's claiming you can't manage your own affairs, Tanya. I managed 400 patients per shift. I know. 0 errors. I know that too. The assets were itemized with appraisal-level precision. Someone had done homework. The duplex value was current, not the county assessment, which was lower. Someone had pulled a real estimate. He listed the duplex, Garrett. Jerry built that duplex. That was the first time my voice cracked on the word Jerry. 14 letters in the sentence, and my voice broke on 5 of them. Garrett gave me a moment. Then, the petition was filed 10 days ago. 10 days. My son had been planning this for at least 10 days. He'd filed the paperwork, retained an attorney, arranged a hearing date, and then called me on a Wednesday evening with a warm voice and an invitation to dinner. Just family, Mom. Just family. He was building a cage with those words, and I almost walked into it smiling, carrying peach cobbler. Garrett, what do you want to do? I looked at the watch on my wrist. Every second matters. I want to know who Dr. Alan Reeves is. Garrett had already started digging. Dr. Alan Reeves, 58 years old. Concierge physician with a private office in Richmond, Virginia. Not affiliated with any hospital. No academic credentials in geriatric cognitive assessment. His specialty, according to his website, comprehensive cognitive evaluations for families navigating difficult transitions. His actual practice 20-minute video calls for $15,000. He called it a Medicare wellness check. I said. I remembered now. 3 months ago. Monica had set it up. The insurance company needs a quick video call, Mom. Just routine. I'd sat at Bradley's kitchen table while a man on a laptop screen asked me what day it was, who the president was, and to count backward from 100. 20 minutes. I thought it was paperwork. He charged $15,000 for that call, Tanya. I did the math. $750 per minute. My entire salary in 1989 was $11.60 per hour. This man charged $750 to write 4 pages saying I'd lost my mind. Garrett's paralegal had found more. Dr. Reeves had performed similar assessments for at least 7 other families. Same format, same template conclusions, same fee. 7 families whose elderly relatives were declared incompetent based on a video call shorter than a lunch break. A 20-minute video call is not a cognitive assessment, Garrett. I know. In 35 years of nursing, I've seen exactly 1 legitimate cognitive assessment done by video. It took 4 hours, 3 practitioners, and a neuropsychologist. Not 20 minutes and a check. That's what I'm going to tell the judge. Good. Now tell me about the dinner. Garrett paused. I knew that pause. Doctors use it before the second diagnosis, the one that's worse than the first. The dinner isn't just dinner, Tanya. I waited. My paralegal spoke with Diane Lester, Monica's sister. She's a social worker. Monica invited her to Saturday's dinner specifically to observe your behavior in a casual setting. I said nothing. Monica told Diane you've been showing signs of confusion, asked her to watch how you interact, see if you repeat yourself, see if you seem disoriented. And who's Paul Hendricks? Monica's friend from Data Point Solutions. accountant. Same assignment, ask you about your finances, see how you handle the questions. I leaned back in my chair, the blue dress pressed against the wood. I looked at the ceiling of my kitchen, the ceiling Jerry patched after the ice storm in 2009, the one with the faint watermark I never painted over because it reminded me he'd fixed it himself. She cast a dinner like a production, I said. Witnesses in the audience, a script for the questions, and I was supposed to be the evidence. Diane doesn't know about the petition, neither does Paul. Monica told them it's just family concern. 18 months, the gaslighting, the canceled dinners, Monica's Thanksgiving quiz, the questions about the stove, the driving the vitamins. Every moment was rehearsal. She wasn't worried about me. She was building a file. Garrett, are you still going? Yes. Tanya, you don't have to. I've walked into I See Us at 3 a.m. with a patient coding and a resident frozen in the doorway. I can walk into my son's dining room. I wasn't going as a guest. I was going as a diagnostician. Saturday, 5 o'clock. Bradley pulled into my driveway in the black SUV Monica picked out. I climbed in. Blue dress, watch, purse with the carpenter's pencil I'd moved there the week before. No cobbler. It was still on the counter where I'd set it down when Garrett called. After what he told me, bringing peach cobbler felt absurd. Bradley drove with his window cracked. He made small talk the way nervous people do, too many topics, too little depth. How's the garden, Mom? Read any good books? Weather's been nice. I answered, normally, clearly. I watched his hands on the steering wheel. His knuckles were white. Monica met us at the door, silk blouse, gold earrings, warm smile. Tanya, you look beautiful. I said thank you, and I walked into the house where my son was born knowing every person at that table had a role they didn't tell me about. The dining room table was set for 6. Bradley and Monica, me, Diane Lester. Monica's sister, 47 social worker, sitting to my left. Paul Hendricks, 50 accountant friend of Monica's sitting across from me. And Sarah, a woman I'd never met, added last minute. She was in the neighborhood, Monica said. Wine appeared immediately. Monica poured mine first, fullest glass, red. Wine loosens tongues. Every nurse knows that. Diane started with the questions, casual, conversational. So Tanya, what's your typical week like? Do you still drive? Any plans for the holidays? Assessment questions, dressed up as small talk. I answered everyone, clearly, precisely. Date, day, year, medication names, the tenant's lease terms, my blood pressure reading from last Thursday. I watched Monica watching me. She had the expression of a project manager whose deliverable wasn't performing as expected. The short ribs were good. I'll give Monica that. Braised with rosemary, served with roasted potatoes. The kind of meal that says effort. The kind of meal designed to keep someone at the table. Paul leaned forward halfway through the main course. Tanya, have you thought about your financial planning retirement accounts? The rental property, a lot of people your age start simplifying. People your age. I set my fork down. I haven't simplified anything, Paul. I own 2 properties. One is the house my husband built. The other is a duplex he renovated in 1995. My retirement account is a 403B through St. Agnes Memorial, and the balance as of last Tuesday's statement was $421,312. He blinked, wrote something on his napkin. I picked up my fork. The potatoes are excellent, Monica. Diane excused herself to the kitchen twice. Monica followed her once. I heard murmuring through the doorway but couldn't make out words. When they came back, Monica's smile was tighter. I checked my pulse with the nurse's watch. 88 beats per minute. High for me. I'm usually 62, but I was sitting at a table where 3 people were documenting my behavior while pretending to enjoy dinner. 88 was generous. At 8:15, I excused myself to use the bathroom. Down the hall, past the guest room, past Bradley's home office. The door was open. The printer on his desk had 2 sheets in the tray face up. I wasn't looking for it. 35 years of reading charts teaches you one thing: when a document is face up on a tray, you read it. I stopped, 2 steps into the office, close enough to read. Sheet 1, an invoice. Reeves Consulting. PLLC. Billed to Bradley Townsend. Service: Cognitive Capacity Evaluation. Video Telehealth. Fee $15,000. Date 3 months prior. Red stamp, paid. Sheet 2, a printed email. From Monica to Dr. Reeves. Thank you for the expedited assessment. The family appreciates your discretion. We'll be in touch regarding the hearing. I read both sheets in 8 seconds. Nurse speed, invoice number, date, amount, Reeves's office address in Richmond, Monica's email address. I committed every detail to memory the way I memorized medication dosages, because mistakes cost lives. $15,000, paid. I reached into my purse and took out Jerry's carpenter's pencil, flat cedar, blunt tip. The same pencil he used to mark kitchen cabinets, measure door frames, and sketch furniture on the back of napkins at the Clearfield Diner. I wrote the invoice number on my palm, 6 digits, then the date, then the amount. My hand was steady. Heart rate back down 74. Manageable. I put the pencil back, walked to the bathroom, washed my hands carefully around the writing, looked in the mirror. Blue dress. Watch. Invoice number on my palm in graphite. I looked like a woman freshening up after dinner. I looked like a 72-year-old mother using the restroom at her son's house. I was neither. I went back to the table, sat down. Monica smiled. "Everything okay, Mom?" I looked her in the eye. Perfect. The cobbler turned out well, didn't it? There was no cobbler. I'd left it on my counter, but I wanted to see her face. She didn't correct me. She nodded. It was wonderful, Mom. She was performing, and now I knew it for certain because she was agreeing with a dish that didn't exist. I finished the wine, laughed at Paul's joke about the weather, complimented Diane's scarf, hugged Bradley at the door. "Thank you for dinner, sweetheart." He held on a second too long, like someone apologizing with their arms because they can't do it with their words. I got into his car. He drove me home. Quiet. I watched the streetlights pass. Clearfield at night is dark between the lamps, just black road and tree shapes and the occasional porch light. I've driven these roads since before Bradley was born. At my front door, I waited until his taillights disappeared. Then I called Garrett. "I have the invoice number," I said, "and the email." Monica wrote it. I read them from my palm. If you've ever sat at a table where the people smiling at you were building a case against you, you know this feeling, that quiet moment where you decide, I see you and I'm not done. If this story's keeping you here, subscribe. Because what happened in that courtroom 6 days later, that's the part you don't want to miss. Sunday morning, Garrett's office, yellow legal pads on the desk, coffee going cold, printer running. I sat across from him in slacks and a pullover because the blue dress was for battle, and this was strategy. Garrett laid it out, 5 prongs. 1, file a counter-motion challenging Dr. Reeves's qualifications and the validity of a 20-minute video assessment. No judge in Virginia should accept this. We're going to make sure this one doesn't. 2, schedule an independent cognitive assessment with Dr. Anita Patel, my physician for 12 years. In person, comprehensive. Not 20 minutes, 90. 3, subpoena Dr. Reeves's records. How many expedited assessments has he performed? For how much? If he's running a factory, the judge needs to know. 4, request Bradley's financial records. If your son wants control of your money, the court has every right to ask what he did with his own. 5, character witnesses. You gave 35 years to that hospital, Tanya. How many of those people would show up for you? I said, how many chairs does the courtroom gallery have? Garrett smiled, first time since Wednesday. Monday morning, Garrett filed the counter motion. Tuesday, Dr. Patel was scheduled, and I sat down with my phone and a cup of coffee and started making calls. I called Helen Vasquez first. She picked up on the first ring. "What do you need?" she said. "Not what happened. Not are you okay. Just what do you need?" That's the difference between a colleague and an acquaintance. Colleagues don't waste time on sympathy when there's work to do. Garrett also filed a complaint with the Virginia Board of Medicine against Dr. Reeves. "That's not for the hearing," he said. "That's for the other 7 families." Tuesday afternoon, Garrett's investigator delivered the financial picture I'd been dreading. Shenandoah Valley Real Estate Fund, established 2022 by Bradley Townsend. $1.2 million raised from 8 clients, plus Bradley's own $200,000. The fund bought 4 commercial properties in the Shenandoah Valley office spaces and a retail strip. Then interest rates climbed. Property values dropped. 2 tenants defaulted. 1 building sat empty for 9 months. By late 2024, the fund was hemorrhaging. 3 clients filed complaints with FINRA, 2 lawsuits pending, Bradley's personal exposure $280,000 in losses, with potential professional sanctions. His financial advisor license was under review. "He's not just broke, Tanya," Garrett said. "He's about to lose his license. If he controls your assets, $1.3 million, he can settle the lawsuits, repay the clients, and keep his business." I sat with that. "He didn't file because I'm declining," I said. "He filed because he is." The timeline clicked. Bradley started pushing me to sell the duplex 14 months ago, right when the fund began failing. The gaslighting started 18 months ago when he first realized he was in trouble. Every "mom, you already told me that" was groundwork. Every canceled dinner was avoidance. Every question about the tenant was appraisal. He wasn't asking about the duplex because he cared about maintenance. He was pricing the building. $280,000. That's what my son's integrity cost. Less than the duplex Jerry built with his own hands. Less than the retirement account I spent 35 years contributing to. Less than the house I raised him in. My son didn't want to take care of me. He wanted me to take care of his debt. Helen Vasquez started the phone tree. 28 years of shared shifts gives you a network that doesn't need LinkedIn. By Monday evening, 4 people had confirmed. By Tuesday night, 9. By Wednesday morning, 15. Nurses mostly, but also Dr. James Whitfield, 74, former chief of medicine at St. Agnes, retired sharp as a scalpel and angry enough to drive 2 hours from Charlottesville. Patricia Lowe, nursing education director, flew in from Roanoke, canceled 2 patient orientations to be there. "You know I don't cancel for anything, Tanya. This is the exception." Helen organized everything. Room assignments at the Clearfield Motor Inn, carpool to the courthouse, dress code, business attire. We're representing 35 years of medicine, not a reunion. Tuesday afternoon, I sat in Dr. Patel's office for 90 minutes. Full cognitive assessment, memory recall executive function language, visuospatial attention. She tested me the way I'd want to be tested thoroughly without shortcuts, without a timer counting down on a laptop screen. Results perfect scores, every domain. Dr. Patel looked at me over her reading glasses. "Mrs. Townsend, your mind is as clear as the day I met you, sharper than most of my patients half your age." She typed the report that afternoon. 4 pages, same length as Dr. Reeves's. But hers was built on 12 years of medical records, 90 minutes of assessment, and the kind of evidence that doesn't cost $15,000. 12 years of medical records, I said. 35 years of professional service, against a 20-minute video call from a man I never met. Dr. Patel took off her glasses. I've watched you explain complex medication interactions to my residents better than I can, Tanya. Your mind is exceptional. This petition is an insult. Wednesday, Garrett called with one more piece. His investigator had pulled Monica's employment history from Data Point Solutions. The restructuring she'd told Bradley about wasn't restructuring. Monica Crane Townsend had been terminated, caused falsifying employee performance reviews. She'd written negative evaluations for 3 colleagues who were competing with her for a VP promotion. All 3 were subsequently denied advancement. One filed a formal complaint. Internal investigation followed. HR investigated HR and found fabricated documentation in Monica's files. No severance. Reference, not eligible for rehire. Monica told Bradley it was corporate downsizing. He believed her because she found freelance consulting work quickly and never changed her spending habits. Why doubt someone who's still paying the bills? She's done this before, Tanya, Garrett said. Different documents, same method. She fabricates the evidence, then hides behind process. Falsified performance reviews. Falsified a cognitive assessment. Different office, different target, same woman. Garrett planned to present this at the hearing relevant to credibility. Monica arranged the Dr. Reeves evaluation. Monica emailed him. Monica set the dinner trap. If the court knew she had a pattern of document manipulation, her involvement in the petition became a liability, not an asset. I sat in my kitchen and thought about Bradley. I thought about the 4 seconds of silence on the phone when I told him I knew about the petition, and he almost said something real before Monica took the handset. She didn't change him. She used what was already broken: his debt, his desperation, his guilt about never being the son Jerry wanted. I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered he signed his name on the petition, his handwriting, his choice. Almost only counts in horseshoes. Thursday, Garrett's investigator found another thread. A real estate appraiser named Kevin Holt had visited 44 Elm Court 6 weeks earlier. The downstairs tenant, Mrs. Jeffries, mentioned it when Garrett's team called. A man came by to look at the property, said the owner sent him. I didn't send anyone. Bradley had commissioned the appraisal without telling me. Professional grade full report appraisal, not a Zillow estimate. $380,000 for the duplex. He'd also pulled a comparable market analysis on 8 Birchwood Lane, $520,000. Combined with the 403B $1,320,000. He'd priced my entire life before he filed the petition. Garrett laid it out. As proposed guardian and conservator, he'd have authority to sell both properties, liquidate the retirement account, and manage all finances, including access to the checking account, the savings, and the rental income from the duplex. Jerry's voice in my head: "You build what matters, son." Bradley wasn't building. He was appraising. Measuring every room Jerry framed, every tile he grouted, every door frame he planed by hand, and converting it to a number on a spreadsheet. $380,000. That's what a stranger said Jerry's work was worth. I made a decision. I told Garrett, "I'm speaking at the hearing, not you, me." He started to object. I cut him off. "This is my competence they're questioning. They're going to hear it from me." Garrett studied me for 3 seconds. Then he nodded. "Write what you want to say. Practice it. Keep it under 3 minutes." I knew exactly what I was going to say. I'd been rehearsing it for 35 years without knowing it. Wednesday evening, 2 days before the hearing, I called Bradley. He answered on the 3rd ring, nervous. I could hear it in the way he breathed shallow, fast, like a patient before a procedure. "Mom, hi, how are you?" "I know about the petition, Bradley." Silence. 1 second, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds. I counted them on the nurse's watch. In those 4 seconds, I heard him inhale. I heard the chair creak. I heard him almost speak the beginning of a word, maybe mom, maybe I'm, and then stop. Then Monica's voice, muffled at first, then clear. "Give me the phone, Bradley." A rustle, then Monica. "Tanya, this is for your own good. We're doing this because we love you." Monica, the last time someone told me something was for my own good, it was a pharmaceutical rep trying to sell me a drug that got pulled from the market 6 months later. You're not thinking clearly. That's exactly why. I know about Dr. Reeves. I know about the $15,000. I know about the dinner. And Bradley, I know about the fund. Silence again. Longer this time. "Monica, we'll see you Friday." I hung up. I looked at the watch. 7:34 p.m. Checked my pulse. 62 beats per minute. My resting heart rate. The same as any morning before a shift. 4 seconds. That's all my son gave me. 4 seconds before his wife decided what he was going to say. I'd spent 35 years watching families in waiting rooms, the ones where someone else does all the talking while the patient sits silent, eyes down, hands folded. Bradley was the patient now, and he didn't even know it. Thursday, the Clearfield Motor Inn filled up. Helen Vasquez arrived first. She'd driven from Lynchburg in her minivan with Patricia Lowe and 2 retired floor nurses I hadn't seen in 5 years. Dr. Whitfield pulled in from Charlottesville at 2 p.m, suit bag over his shoulder. License plates from 4 Virginia counties lined the parking lot. I went to the hotel Thursday evening, walked into the lobby and stopped. 15 people. Some I'd worked beside for decades. Some I'd trained as 22-year-old students who were now department heads themselves. They were standing in groups of 3 and 4 coffee cups in hand, talking quietly the way medical people talk before a procedure focused, prepared no wasted words. Helen saw me first. She crossed the lobby and put her hand on my shoulder. "You ready?" "I've been charting for 35 years, Helen. Today I just have a different patient." Patricia Lowe hugged me hard enough to wrinkle my jacket. "Tanya, I flew from Roanoke. I canceled 2 patient orientations. You know I don't cancel." Dr. Whitfield shook my hand. 74 years old, 3-piece suit, retired chief of medicine. "I signed your recommendation letter in 1992, Tanya. I'll sign anything else you need." I looked at them, all of them. 15 people who'd gotten up packed bags, booked rooms, and driven hours because a 20-minute video call said I couldn't remember my own name. "I trained some of you," I said. "I worked alongside the rest, and tomorrow you're getting up at 6 a.m. to sit in a courtroom for me." Helen squeezed my arm. "Not just for you, Tanya, for what's right." I drove home, sat in Jerry's workshop, held the carpenter's pencil. I didn't cry, I just breathed. Thursday night, 8 Birchwood Lane, quiet. I laid out the blue dress on the bed. Pressed it that morning, the wrinkle from the dinner at Bradley's was gone. The watch went on the nightstand. Carpenter's pencil next to it. 3 objects. Same 3 things I'd take to any shift uniform timer tool. I sat on the edge of the bed and read the documents one more time. Dr. Patel's report, 4 pages every domain, tested every score perfect. My personnel file from St. Agnes, 35 years of annual evaluations, each one marked exceeds expectations or outstanding. Garrett's counter motion, 31 pages of evidence, cross-referenced, documented, cited. Then I read the petition. Bradley's signature at the bottom. I recognized his handwriting. Same handwriting from Mother's Day cards. Same loops on the B. Same hard press on the T in Townsend. I called Garrett one last time. "Are we ready?" "We've been ready since Tuesday." "I meant, am I ready?" "Tanya, you've been ready for this your whole life. You just didn't know it." I set the alarm for 5:30, same time I used to wake for morning rounds. Some habits don't retire. I turned off the light. Jerry's side of the bed was cold. It's been cold for 8 years. The pillow still dips where his head used to rest. I've never replaced it. Tomorrow I was going to fight for everything he built. That was warm enough. Friday morning, I put on the blue dress, fastened the watch Jerry gave me, slipped the carpenter's pencil into my purse and drove to the courthouse where my son was waiting to tell a judge I'd lost my mind. If you've ever walked into a room knowing someone underestimated you, hit subscribe. Because what I said in that courtroom, I've waited 72 years to say it. 5:30, alarm up. Shower, coffee. Blue dress, same one from Saturday's dinner. Same one I bought for a birthday Jerry never saw. Watch on the left wrist. Carpenter's pencil in the purse. Same 3 objects. Different day. I picked up my phone while the coffee brewed. Scrolled to Garrett's text from 6 days ago. Call me right now, it's urgent. 6 days. 144 hours between that text and this morning. I'd spent most of them reading, calling, planning, and sitting in offices with people who believed me. Garrett picked me up at 7:30. Clearfield County Circuit Court. Small building on Courthouse Square. Red brick, white columns, American flag hanging still in the morning air. The parking lot told the story before we walked inside. Helen Vasquez's minivan, Patricia Lowe's rental, Dr. Whitfield's dark sedan, a gray Honda I recognized as belonging to a nurse I'd trained in 2004, license plates from 4 counties. 15 people in business attire, standing by the entrance, waiting. I walked toward them. Blue dress, nurse's watch, carpenter's pencil I could feel through the leather of my purse. Same dress as Saturday, different battlefield. Helen met me at the steps. You ready? I've been charting for 35 years, Helen. Today I just have a different chart. We walked in together. 15 nurses, 2 doctors, 1 retired hospital administrator, and a 72-year-old woman in a blue dress who remembered everything. Courtroom B, Judge Margaret Avery presiding, 62 years old, wire-rimmed glasses, known in Clearfield County for 2 things, thoroughness and a low tolerance for nonsense. The gallery told the story. On the right side behind me, 15 people filled 3 rows, nurses in blazers, Dr. Whitfield in his 3-piece suit, Patricia Lowe with her reading glasses hanging from a chain, Helen Vasquez in the front row, spine-straight hands, folded on her lap the way she sat during hospital board meetings. On the left side behind Bradley, 2 people, Monica, Paul Hendricks. 2 against 15. Judge Avery looked at the gallery over her glasses. I saw her count. Bradley sat at the petitioner's table in a navy suit that was too tight across the shoulders. He'd gained weight. Stress weight, I recognized it. I'd seen it on doctors facing malpractice reviews. He stared at the table. He wouldn't look at me. His attorney was young, 30 maybe, hired 2 weeks ago. He kept straightening his tie. Monica sat in the gallery behind Bradley, composed, watching the 15 people on my side, counting heads, face tightening with each number. I sat at the respondent's table with Garrett, blue dress, watch on my wrist, pencil in my purse, spine straight, heart rate 64. Judge Avery opened a folder, put on her reading glasses. Mr. Townsend, you've filed a petition for full guardianship and conservatorship of your mother, Tanya Townsend, age 72. Is that correct? Bradley's attorney stood. Yes, Your Honor. Judge Avery looked at the gallery again. That's a significant number of people for a Friday morning hearing. Garrett, Your Honor, they're all here for the respondent. She raised an eyebrow. Proceed. Garrett stood, methodical. The way he'd been doing this for 20 years, no flash, no drama, just facts stacked like bricks. Your Honor, the cognitive assessment included in this petition was conducted by Dr. Alan Reeves of Richmond, a 20-minute video telehealth call. Dr. Reeves has never examined Mrs. Townsend in person. He is not affiliated with any hospital. He holds no specialization in geriatric cognitive assessment, and he charged $15,000 for this evaluation. Judge Avery's pen stopped moving. Garrett called Dr. Patel. She testified for 12 minutes, 12 years as Tanya's physician. 90-minute in-person assessment conducted 4 days ago. Results perfect scores across every cognitive domain: memory, executive function, language, visuospatial processing, attention. Mrs. Townsend demonstrates no cognitive decline whatsoever, Dr. Patel said. Her clinical reasoning is exceptional. I have 12 years of medical records supporting this assessment. Garrett presented the financial records next. Shenandoah Valley Real Estate Fund, $280,000 in losses, 3 client lawsuits, FINRA investigation. The petitioner is not seeking guardianship because his mother is declining your honor. He's seeking it because his own financial position has collapsed. Then Monica's employment history. Data Point Solutions, terminated for falsifying employee performance reviews. The individual who arranged the Dr. Reeves assessment has a documented history of fabricating professional evaluations. Monica stood in the gallery. That's not relevant. Judge Avery, ma'am, you're not a party to this proceeding. Sit down. Monica sat. Her face was red. Garrett called Dr. Reeves. He testified from the witness stand, stiff defensive. He admitted the 20-minute format, admitted the $15,000 fee, could not name Tanya's medications, could not name her primary physician, could not recall her blood pressure. I conducted a standard screening. Dr. Patel still seated. There is no standard screening that takes 20 minutes and costs $15,000. Bradley's attorney objected, overruled. Garrett turned to the judge. Your Honor, Mrs. Townsend would like to make a personal statement. Judge Avery nodded. I stood. The chair scraped against the floor, the only sound in the room. Blue dress. Watch on my wrist. I could feel the carpenter's pencil through the leather of my purse resting against my hip like a hand on my shoulder. I looked at the judge, then at the gallery, then at Bradley. He still wouldn't look at me. Your Honor, my voice was steady, no tremor. My name is Tanya Townsend. I am 72 years old. I was the head nurse at St. Agnes Memorial Hospital for 35 years. I administered medication to 400 patients per shift. I trained over 200 nurses. In 35 years, I had 0 medication errors. I paused. The courtroom was silent. I can tell you my blood pressure from this morning, 122/78. I can name the 3 medications I take and the dosage of each. I can recite the dates of my last 4 medical appointments, the current balance of my retirement account to the penny, and the property tax assessment on both my homes. I turned toward the gallery. Helen Vasquez, Dr. Whitfield, Patricia Lowe, 12 others, eyes steady, present. The people sitting in this courtroom didn't come because I'm confused. They came because they know me. They've known me for decades. They've watched me work. They know what I'm capable of. I turned back to the judge. I took a breath, not a deep breath, a measured one, the kind I took before every code blew. I spent 35 years reading charts, administering medication, and keeping people alive. You think I can't read a legal filing? Silence, 3 seconds, 5. Helen Vasquez pressed her hand to her mouth. Dr. Whitfield nodded once slowly. 15 people in 3 rows. No one spoke. No one needed to. I sat down. My watch read 10:17, heart rate 62, my resting rate, same as any morning at St. Agnes. Judge Avery removed her reading glasses, set them on the bench, looked at Bradley's attorney, then at Bradley, then at the petition in front of her. Silence. This petition is without merit. It is dismissed with prejudice. She let the words settle. Furthermore, Dr. Reeves, I am referring your assessment practices to the Virginia Board of Medicine. A 20-minute video call is not a cognitive evaluation. It is a disservice to the patient and an insult to this court. She looked at Bradley. Mr. Townsend, I strongly suggest you seek legal counsel regarding your own financial affairs before you presume to manage your mother's. Monica stood, face flushed, voice sharp. This is about family loyalty. You can't just... Ma'am, I told you to sit down. Bailiff. Monica sat, not because she wanted to, because the bailiff was already moving. Bradley's attorney whispered something. Bradley started to stand. His mouth opened and Monica grabbed his arm from the row behind, leaned forward, whispered, "Don't say anything." He closed his mouth. He looked at me. 4 seconds. The same 4 seconds as the phone call, the same silence, the same almost the beginning of a word that never arrived. Then he looked away, Monica's hand still on his arm. He didn't say sorry, I told Garrett in the car. He didn't say anything. She made sure of that. Garrett pulled out of the courthouse parking lot. The 15 cars were emptying. Helen waved. Dr. Whitfield gave a small salute from his sedan. It's over, Tanya. I looked at the watch on my wrist. The crystal face Jerry had replaced twice because he said a nurse's watch should never be hard to read. Every second matters. No, I said. It's documented. The petition was dismissed with prejudice. That means it can't be refiled. Bradley can't try again. Not next month, not next year, not ever. Dr. Alan Reeves, Virginia Board of Medicine investigation opened. 7 other families identified with similar 20-minute assessments, $15,000 each, $105,000 in combined fees for video calls that determined people's lives. His license is under review. His Richmond office is closed. Bradley Townsend FINRA investigation continues. Clearfield Wealth Management lost 4 clients within 3 weeks after court documents became public. The Shenandoah Valley Real Estate Fund losses confirmed at $280,000. His professional license remains under review. Monica Townsend Data Point Solutions termination, now on public court record. Diane Lester, her own sister, stopped speaking to her after Garrett's investigator explained what the Saturday dinner had really been. I didn't know about any petition, Diane told his office. Monica told me she was just worried about her mother-in-law. I didn't know I was a prop. My assets untouched. 8 Birchwood Lane, $520,000. 44 Elm Court, $380,000. 403B, $421,000. 1.3 million, all in my name. Where Jerry put it. Where it stays. I updated my will with Garrett the following week. Bradley's share was restructured. The duplex was placed in an irrevocable trust. It stays in the family, I told Garrett, but not in anyone's hands but mine. I didn't disinherit my son. I restructured my estate so no one person could dismantle what Jerry built. There's a difference. 3 months later. I volunteer at the St. Agnes Memorial Gift Shop now. 3 days a week. Different floor, same building. The hallways still smell like floor wax and bad coffee. The nurses on the 3rd floor wave when I pass. Some of them I trained. Some of them were in the courtroom. The duplex has new tenants. Young couple, first baby on the way. I lowered the rent $100 a month. Jerry would have done the same. A house should fit the people in it, he used to say. I found a family that fit. Bradley moved to a smaller office. Lost 2 more clients after the hearing. Enrolled in debt counseling. His financial advisor license is suspended pending the FINRA review. I drive past his building sometimes. The new sign is smaller than the old one. Cheaper frame. He sent me a letter, handwritten, 3 pages. I could tell from the weight of the envelope. I set it on the kitchen counter the day it arrived. It's still there. I see it every morning when I make coffee. The return address is in Bradley's handwriting, same loops on the B, same hard press on the T in Townsend. Same handwriting from the petition, same handwriting from the Mother's Day cards. I'll open it when I'm ready. Maybe next month, maybe next year. Forgiveness isn't a deadline, it's a decision. And I've spent 35 years making decisions carefully. Monica moved back to Richmond, separated from Bradley. Diane still isn't speaking to her. I don't know if that's permanent. Families are complicated, even the ones that try to have you declared incompetent. Dr. Reeves's license was suspended. His office is dark. 7 families are exploring legal options. Evening. 8 Birchwood Lane, the addition Jerry built with his own hands, the family room with the wide windows and the pine floors he sanded 3 times because the first 2 weren't smooth enough. The nurse's watch sits on the nightstand, still ticking. The second hand sweeps the yellowed face the way it has for years, steady, circular, unhurried. Every second matters. Jerry knew that. He carved it on the back because he wanted me to carry it. The carpenter's pencil lies next to it. Flat cedar, blunt tip, graphite smudge. One measured time, the other measured what you could build with it. The blue dress hangs in the closet, cleaned, pressed, ready for whatever comes next. I don't need a petition to tell me who I am. I don't need a judge. I don't need a 20-minute video call from a doctor who charged $750 per minute to say I'd lost my mind. The window is open, evening air, Clearfield quiet, a dog barking 2 streets over. The duplex tenant's porch light, I can see it from here. Still standing, still rented, still mine. I'm Tanya Townsend, 72 years old, retired head nurse, mother, and I remember everything. That's my story. 6 days between a text message and a courtroom. 35 years of competence against a 20-minute phone call. If you're ever sitting in a room where someone is rewriting who you are, remember the chart doesn't lie, and neither does the person who's been reading it her whole life. If this story reminded you to protect what you've built or to call someone who needs to hear your voice, do it today. Share this video. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.